Welcome back to the Glowroom, ladies and gentlemen. I go by the name of Sibulele Vuso. I am here with the team that you guys met previously in our previous episode. We spoke about the pre, now we're speaking about the post. And I've got two very special guests with me, the people who contributed greatly to ensuring that this marathon happened the way that it happened. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. I don't know which way to start, gentlemen. Who wants to start? Okay, more.
Okay, cool. We'll start with me.
Yeah, we'll start with you. We'll start.
My name is Moik Peterson, and I am part of the marketing team.
Okay.
Jerome Kenloff, marketing and sponsorship. That's me.
Joe Morris, founder, member, and race director of the Legends Township Marathon, brought to you by Lebone's Litho Printers.
My name is Keith Michael, CEO of the group.
Hi guys, my name is Sheldon Tetchell, the founder of Legends Barber.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time today. We're going to jump straight into it. Let's talk the race day. And I'm referring this question to you, Uncle Joe. What were your takeaways from this year's Legends Township Marathon? From turnout to everything.
It was just an amazing and spectacular that was delivered by the organizing team. The community couldn't believe what was happening in El Dorado Park. It changed the dynamics of El Dorado Park, the mindsets of people. And within the athletes themselves that participated, they just cannot forget because it was a memorable event in their minds. And they're looking forward to the next rendition of the Legends Township Marathon.
Gentlemen, the marketing guys, I'm gonna speak to you because we can relate with our marketing team this side regarding the amount of work that actually went into putting this whole thing together. The early mornings, the late nights. Would you say, from a turnout perspective and the way everything was just put together, was it up to the standards of which you had hoped?
Yes, from the marketing perspective, from where we started, it's always, like I said, when we spoke to Keith of Lebone Litho Printers to be our sponsor in this year's event. It is easy, when you show people this is what happened the year before and how it is. And then on the race day, when this vision and this dream becomes a reality through God's grace, it's amazing. Because you have an overlook and a view from your perspective, like where you started. To look at this event has grown in 2026. It's amazing what we've seen. The outcome, we envisioned, myself and Sheldon and Uncle Joe last year. They were, especially Uncle Joe and Sheldon, was like, 5,000 next. I'm like, guys, are we not rushing this? Are we not rushing this? But to have seen it become a reality, that's the amazing part. That's the amazing part, that the hard work and the marketing side of it makes it work hard.
And from your side?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to piggyback. I think there's a great philosophy that says that it takes a village to raise a child. And I think for me, stepping in and coming on as the marketing lead and experiencing really what it means to be a part of a village. And I think this whole event really takes a village for it to be put together. I think the marketing team is so broad, and it consists of many other members, and as well as the overall event. We just the ones that normally come sit in the meeting, but I mean there is quite a few hands. And I think when I saw about 200 volunteers from the Friday, I was shocked. I said, "This is quite a lot of there is quite a lot of people that's involved." But I think overall, I think the feedback has just been absolutely phenomenal. I think the feedback has been positive. It's been community. I think the community is happy. I mean, as we said in the debriefs, we cannot. Not everyone will be satisfied. You cannot satisfy everyone. But I think even if we impact just one person, if one person walks away feeling there's been a great impact, I think for us that is a win. But of course, I mean, the participants were 5,000. I mean, there was lots of supporters. It was just incredible. Our vendors, our sponsors. Immediately after when they left, they already said, Warwick, please, can we want to write our names down for next year. How are we a part of this next year? So that on its own, for me, just says that the turnout was it was better than what we expected. But again, it's all teamwork. We can never say it's
not.
just us that done this all of
I
this.
mean, speaking of that, like when it comes to the turnout, we speak of this 5,000, but honestly speaking, I feel like there was way more people than 5,000. Unless if that's what 5,000 people looks like, I really feel like there was a lot more than 5,000 people that actually participated in this race. And speaking on that, man, like the impact that this race had on the community, right, of Eldorado Park and the showcase, and showcasing it rather in a different spotlight than what we all used to. Like how do you guys feel like this event is positively impacting the community of Eldorado Park? Anyone can answer that question.
Yeah, no, I think much more than anything else. The reason why we also bought into this race a couple of years ago.
He's answered my question now.
We went into it and you know the story in the Bible where it talks about the 5 loaves and the 2 fish.
Yes.
And this is exactly what that race was back then. You understand? People could see the potential, but it wasn't until God stepped in and divine intervention came place. And what took place was that the race was always there. It was always a light within the community. It was always that event that everyone looks forward to in the community, but it wasn't illuminated as everyone to see, you understand? And once people start recognizing that something good is taking place in Eldorado Park, guess what happens? The came on board and just started exploding this thing to say the next year 3,500 people came in and it became a talk. And now this year it went past over 5,000 people that they joined this race and became part of this race. I think much more than anything else, if we talk about divine intervention, I think this is exactly that, because it can never be through our own strengths or through our own might. It's always through God. And just to see that what transpired during the day of the race. I mean like for us who were there, just it was just truly incredible being able to walk past. I mean, like we were busy running and you see the churches coming out, having church in the street. You understand? It's like being able to encourage the runners that's out there, the kids that was on the side of the road celebrating. It was a whole day of celebration. And there's so many positive reviews from the marketing team, the guys on TikTok, people out there that ran the race. And they said they never ran a race like this, where the community was in full support, actively involved in what's currently taking place. And it shows you that when we talk about it takes a community, and this is exactly it. It's all about the whole community that came out, and they just came to come showcase. And that's the one part of it. The other part of it, when people got to the stadium, it was
pandemonium.
It was a pandemic.
One time, I think I got there around past 4. The traffic that was there.
Yes.
I was like, this is actually big. It's bigger than what I thought it would be. Now, Mr. Keith, I'm going to come to you, sir. Regarding Lebone's partnership and sponsorship to the Legends Township Marathon, like what triggered that to say, I really want Lebone to be a part of this? Like what was that thought process like, and what led you to that decision?
So first and foremost, I'm a boy from the hood. I literally come from Westbury. I grew up in Westbury. I sharpened my teeth in Westbury. I was formed in Westbury. So when these colored boys came to me, I'm thinking, this dream they've got is big. It's a big dream. But to Sheldon's point, if God is in control, it is a foregone conclusion. So I think when I saw this and I thought, okay, our communities are riddled with alcohol, drugs, all these social problems that we're having. How do we as a company participate and plow back? How do we put back into community? I think important was that these communities, we sometimes feel that we left behind. There's a problem that nobody takes note of us. But the point is not that nobody takes note. It's the point that we don't grab the opportunities. And when Sheldon and his team put this together, they all grabbed the opportunities and everybody came to the fore. And I thought from that perspective, from a brand awareness is one thing. From a corporate social investment point of view, that is one thing. But what do we do to bring these communities together? Not only from an athletics point of view, but how do we conscientize our people about alcohol, about drugs, about sexual problems, about gangsterism? How do we conscientize them? So for me, it was a foregone conclusion. It was a no-brainer. So putting the investment in was a great thing. From a brand proposition was excellent. Was excellent. But I said, how do we now, as a team, begin to build on to the next? Because it takes a year to plan. The minute the race is finished, the next planning starts happening. But how do we begin to build that? Because I think you guys had not only religious, politicians, celebrities, there was a whole lot of people involved. Business community is to tap into that and say, next year, if you had 5,000, can we do 20,000? And I think the awareness this thing brought, it was trending all over.
Yes,
it was.
Everybody's waiting now, but we mustn't wait for next year, 2 months before the event, then we planned this. It needs to happen now. And I think imperative is these social illnesses. How do corporates get involved in it? I saw a couple of big corporates there too. But how do they bring to the party? Notwithstanding, we must also look at these communities buy from your big supermarkets, your big brands. What are they doing in terms of social corporate investment? How do we wheel them into this and force them to come on board? Because we're buying product. We're servicing those products. How do we get them involved? Government, how do we get government involved? Because there are budgets for these things. But we mustn't wait until next year. Let's do it now. Let's get into the year planners and let's get people involved.
True.
Yeah. And I think too, it has become like an international event because I saw people from Ghana, and I said this is actually an international. This has become like an international. It should be recognized, Uncle Joe and Uncle Keith and Sheldon Jerome as an international event.
Well, if you can prove that there's been more than 5 countries
Involved.
that came and participated, then you're on your way.
Yes, if I look at the stats, and correctly so, team, is that the registration, Uncle Joe, we were around 12. Zimbabwe alone, there was around 36 runners.
Wow.
Okay.
Then from the rest of Africa, I think another 7. If I stand with, and one from China again this year, and one from Afghanistan.
Sure.
So that already puts us there as this team can say this is an international event. And if I look at the vision Uncle Joe and the team and the founding team put years ago, was this thing to be recognized. From AIMS, now it's International Athletics or what?
World Athletics.
World Athletics. So coming from a Kasi to be that, like, can elders really do this?
But to the point that you make elders, elders, it's where the event was.
Yes.
First thing people asked was, is it safe?
Which is what we spoke about in the previous episode, like the safety of people. Like, even me, like for me, it was my first time going to Aldo's, and the connotation that I had of Aldo's already was like, it's my
And the
car
majority
safe.
of people in any township are good people.
Yes.
They are good people. And I think an event of this nature, if you're talking international, right? It's trending all over TikTok, Facebook. What people want to know. I was surprised there was a white guy talking to the premier there, and he was literally saying that he actually feels so welcome in the community. And that was refreshing. I thought, really? So it is about the perception that we need to build.
True.
We need to get rid of that perception that all these areas are just riddled with criminals. Yes, we have social illnesses, but we need to address that through debunking the perception.
Absolutely.
But you know what's important about the security? If you think about it, in these areas that people go and support events and think it's safe, their cars are broken into or stolen.
Very true.
In an area where they think it's unsafe,
None happened.
our record is clean.
It's clean,
Now, moving just a bit forward to the race. The race happens. The interaction has happened. You guys were trending, I think, for about a good 4 or 5 days. We were just seeing about the Legends Marathon, and when you check like on YouTube and stuff, even the episode that we did was ranked number 3.
Yeah.
So it was trending.
It was
as
trending,
well. You know, like what more would you guys want to see come out of this event?
Yeah, no, so I think much more than anything else. I think the main objective of the Legends Township Marathon is to be the vehicle of change.
Yeah.
Is to be the vehicle that brings change within a community. And I think that's been the core from the beginning.
Yeah.
Is understanding exactly that if this marathon is able to do what it's been doing, how much more can be done within the community and through the confines of the community. And so just a few days after the marathon took place, we then went to a local school and we decided with our partners that actually partnered up with us with a marathon as well. So they came on board and they said, let us go to a local school and let us go set up a rugby facility. I mean, a rugby facility in a community of El Dorado Park is something that you don't hear every day.
Yeah.
I mean, to throw that egg ball is not, but that's the type of initiatives that has been already done. You understand? So there's more things that will continue to take place during the months to come. And the main thing is that this vehicle needs to bring change within a community. As everyone is looking at the marathon took place the other day, so now people are saying, okay, now what?
What's next? Yeah.
What's next? You understand? And I'm all for basically the planning for the next year. But I feel now is the opportunity to actually continue to make change within a community, and whether it's through the school kids that we're going to give out, what's the school shoes, whether it's through veggie gardens that we're going to plant within the schools. All of these initiatives that's going to take place as a vehicle of change within the community.
And it's true what Sheldon is saying, and I think that's the nice thing. If you look at what we've done last year in 2025 event, and you were touching on the 5 loaves and the fishes, and it's so true. There was a time myself and Sheldon we were actually laughing how we literally saw the miracles of God. There's a time we went to so many schools. We're like, when are these things finishing that we have? And it didn't finish. It was like it's just replenishing itself. To a time it was, but Jerome, where are you putting this stuff? We're like, even myself, I'm not. So that's the change that we're speaking about. And God knows His timing is different.
Yeah.
He knew why He brought the Lebone is the Legends, the Township Marathon. And like Keith was also emphasizing, the other cooperative, they must come on board. We have the vehicle, we have the vision. We're going to do a lot this year, but we need more partners involved because we want to be that vehicle of change for our community. Our community, there's an outcry that they need help. Our school kid needs bursaries. They need, there's that type of things that we want to do for this year. And I believe it's going to happen after. That's we're still a little bit tired, but Keith is talking about 20,000. Guys, are you ready for the 20,000? Yes.
So if you can see it, you can dream it.
Exactly.
But you know what was so amazing out of this? I just want to share with you quickly a story. So there was a kid that was doing a park run last year, and this kid was running with basically Crocs. He was running with Crocs the whole park run, 5 kilometers. So he came like in the top 5 or top 10 or something like that.
Yes.
With Crocs. And this kid that as he finished, he was so tired, and basically I spoke to Jerome and I said, you know what, we have to do something here. Akani Simbini, at that particular point, they got us whole pairs of shoes, and we said, let's give this kid a pair of shoes.
Amazing.
I mean, for that kid to have proper running shoes at such a young age, that kid participated in this marathon as we spoke about. You understand?
Amazing.
And if you can make that change to one life, see, we never know what could happen in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think also just the trauma. Sorry, I think the trauma of us coming from the township, those social ills. I think this marathon has really also it was almost like a therapy because we're the first point of contact. It's like, you guys have a marathon, and the first thing we would say is like, oh yeah, it's so dangerous, because sometimes we have our own agendas that we want to push, and we say like, yeah, it's so dangerous, and we have gangsterism, and of course, someone that's coming from the northern suburbs or from somewhere else has a bit of a they're a
be
bit
taken
afraid,
aback a bit.
taken aback to
Yeah.
come. But I think once we start changing our connotation and our mindsets to speak about what an amazing place it is that we come from, and we're not defined where we come from. If you look at Uncle Keith and you look at Charlotte and
Yes.
everyone that's here,
From it,
that
from
you
it.
never define from where you come from, but you know you can always make a difference. Because I always say, you know, if I went to St. Stithians and you went to
Vukuzenzele.
high school, but we sit in the same lecture at Madunsa. Both of us are going to become
Yeah,
doctors. We're both going to get
Yeah.
our doctorate from Madunsa.
Yeah.
So it's really just the mindset. And I
Yeah.
think once we continuously
Change that mindset. Yeah.
the mindset and also say, like, because a lot of people say, what are they giving me? But we should also say, what can we give
What
back
can
to
we give?
our
Yeah.
community?
I want to maybe just latch on to what you're
Yes.
saying about gangsterism. Ironically, the very gangsters become your stakeholders. They become your stakeholders because they see people from the townships or coming into the township. They are the guys that will say, you do not touch those cars.
Oh,
Yeah.
You do not
That's
break
exactly
into
what
those
happened.
cars.
Yeah.
So
Call
true.
it.
exactly what
Literally
Short
become
callers,
your
yeah.
second layer of security. So,
That's
so
exactly what
even
happened.
though we have those social illnesses,
Yeah.
they buy into that
Into it,
as
yeah.
a stakeholder.
Yeah.
Because-
but also what I want to just build on is how do we teach our people to fish?
Yeah.
How do we teach our people
Beautiful.
to, again, biblical. You know, you can have all these fancy events and we make those difference here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
But we need to have rid ourselves of the slave mentality.
Definitely.
That we wait for government to do 1, 2, 3. Yes, they enable us. But what do we do as community?
Yes,
How do we start a little chisanyama there?
Yes.
How do we start a car wash there? How do we start a shoe cleaning?
Yes.
I mean, how do we
That's
start these
empowerment.
things in our communities? And that is maybe something of what the offspin that you talk
We-
about,
yes, we
Yes.
must
that
look at-
entrepreneurial spirit. How do we get this going? Because we're not going to get anywhere
Yeah.
unless we do something.
Yeah.
about it.
Wow.
Just on that point, if you look at what actually took place on the day. So last year we didn't have as many vendors. We did have a lot of vendors, but this year we were very intentional. So we brought in the smaller vendors and we also brought in the
big-
major vendors like the volcanoes,
Yeah.
all of these guys.
ERMs.
All showcasing under one
Yes.
platform. And now you can imagine what that does to these small businesses.
Yeah.
And I engaged with all of these small businesses. I think we had over 30,
Yeah, there was a lot,
35,
yeah.
36 businesses that were showcasing their products and service. A majority of them said, you know what, the fact that I'm here and the fact I was able to showcase my
Showcase,
product
yes.
and sell my service, they say majority of them were sold out.
No,
I
true.
mean, like
100%
the coffee shop that we had, they were sold out. And that's when we ignite the township economy.
Yes.
And that's where it starts from. It definitely starts from there.
And I think that's an important point you make because you guys invited small people into
Yes.
small business into that forum. But how do we take the big brands that were also there,
Absolutely.
without
Yeah, they
mentioning
must
them,
come
and
in.
say, partner with
Partner with
X,
them.
Y, and Z.
Yes.
Partner with, even if they send them on a training course, even if they
Yes.
give them some
amazing.
sort of a kickstart, whether it's R1,000 to say, look, we're going to do your branding for you on your corner as that Chisanyama or Joe's Takeaway or
Yes,
whatever. But it's
yes.
important that these brands come on board.
Absolutely.
You know, because they are in the township and we should demand that. You know, we should demand that.
Absolutely.
That's now the legacy of the Legends Township Marathon
Yeah.
brought to you by Lebone. And thank you. That's so true because I'm just thinking, Sheldon, speaking about the engagements of small businesses and the sell-out factor and exactly what Keith is saying. I mean, the vision with us is having this holistic center.
Yeah.
And once that holistic center really comes out, this is where your training on entrepreneurs becomes a reality. This is when you bring these partners on board from whatever brand it is, Keith, to come and give out our community that opportunity, you know, to build what you had. Like we're going to look back at the vendors that were there, like a guy that really didn't have the opportunity, like you're saying, a boost like 1,000 rand. Here's this center that we're setting up, and that's the vision. And and with God on our side, we will get it right.
Yeah.
Partner with us, and this is the center that will start uplifting and pushing. this
On
community.
Race Day as well. The event does plow back into the economy because we've empowered a lot of young people
yes,
from
a lot.
within our community that were employed to come and work
Work on
for
it.
the day.
Yeah.
But I know the vision is to say, help this youngster that at least he can have an income on a more regular
course,
basis.
of course, of
Not a
course.
once-off.
Yes, not a
but
once-off
there's
thing.
some spin-offs from this event
Yes.
for the community as well.
Yeah, and I think we also call on corporates, for them skills development
Yes.
programs and the enterprise development programs. And I mean, we really need those kind of partnerships to ensure that there's mentorship programs afterwards, or there's learnerships afterwards, and stuff that really give someone a skill that prepares them for the readiness to go out there and to make a difference, as Uncle Keith said, for themselves, because we cannot always be waiting for handouts. Handouts. We really a very privileged country to get a lot of free education and free health, because I mean, I've lived abroad, and I've ensured for the 10 years I lived in America never to get sick.
Too expensive to get sick.
Too expensive to get sick, and I'm still paying off my student loans from the USA. And here in South Africa, there's NASFAS, there's quite a bit. But I think the mentality that Uncle Keith said is like, we need to come back and say, what can we do for our community? Good and well, I've now come out of my community, I've become successful. How can I now contribute? Our big corporates, our banks, when you also look at it and being transparent, when you look at our banking system too, most folk that's working within the banking system is people of color. Folk that come from the township, So I mean, that already tells these big corporates, that there's definitely a need and a want for them to participate in these programs.
So quickly before we close, gentlemen, I just want to speak forward projections. You've spoken about planning for this coming year. From a sponsorship perspective to anticipation of runners and all of that stuff. Like, what would you guys say your projections are for this year?
Obviously, much more. The year goes so quick. I can't believe
actually does.
We're almost at the end of March, and yet we still have to start our program. So one of the biggest dreams, and I'm saying to Uncle Joe, because there's a lot the city has messed up on, which we want to bring back. We had great arts and culture celebrations in our communities back then.
True.
So why can't this vehicle, which is the Legends Township Marathon, bring this back with corporates? With the likes of Lebone and everyone else. Let's bring this back into our community so that we have a full program for the year. And during that period, this is the vision. Obviously, next year's 30-year celebration, it's going to be massive. We're going to have a massive celebration. But we want our community, because the spin of, I think last year, myself and Shell Uncle Joe was also speaking about, this Legends Township Marathon is not just for this community, Eldorado Park. We want to take it to Westbury. Next year, we want to take it to Westbury, and it's going to happen. We're going to be partners in this with Lebone Litho Printers. We're going to take it to Westbury, and we're going to start taking it throughout all the townships in South Africa.
That's a great
And that's the
Your
vision.
mouth to God's
Yes.
Yes.
Gentlemen, I don't want to keep you guys too long. I know y'all are very busy. So I just want to say, from Lebone, the marketing department, thank you so much for including us. To Mr. Keith, thank you for actually putting us in the forefront of this whole thing and ensuring that Lebone is there and that we are showcasing as well at such an amazing event. It was a phenomenal experience. I think my entire team will also agree with me on that. But thank you, Mr. Sheldon, for your time. Mr. Keith, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Uncle Joe, thank you. Jerome, Moik, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Please do remember, guys, we are still on the road to 100 subscribers. So please do subscribe, follow the channel, and we will keep you guys updated, man, on more episodes. Till then, bye.